Nearly there.
Marvellous.
3 days to go, and then it's going to be
A Stasi interrogation room. Isn't it? Brat.
So how are you feeling about the final? Top lineup?
Oh, it's brilliant.
Apart from
I mean, it
judges,
really
of course.
is. Well, I mean, you see, you're as good as the people you work with. You know, I mean, I think the material comes from them. You know, it's just we had such a fantastic cast. I mean, apart from the great dancing, they're all the personalities are wonderful. They really are. You know, you couldn't have wished for a better lineup. They're genuinely nice people. They work very, very hard, but they have sense of humour. The whole experience has been the best, really. I think, you know, for season 9, I mean, it's the best, really. For what I'm concerned, because they give you so much to work with, and they work very, very hard. You know, you've seen from the beginning how far they've got, and it's just incredible. And the atmosphere has been, you know, that's what gives you the energy to do what I do. You know, come from them. You know, it's really, you know, it doesn't come from a mysterious place. It's from your colleagues, because we're all together to try to do the best possible show, and I think everybody gelled into it. Not just the fact that it is a competition. They are competitive. They work very, very hard, but they just come out there and they really deliver. Even if they say technically they're not perfect, you can never say that they don't give a very enjoyable performance. Even, you know, Russell, or even what's her name? Nancy, bless her heart. You know, I mean, she really, you know, she was doing whatever she could. Well, she wasn't good, but as a viewer, not as a job, I just enjoyed it enormously.
Do you think she was the worst dancer that's ever
One
appeared?
of the worst. We had quite a few. I mean, she's right up there with the Galloways, and you know.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, you don't know. You know, you don't until you put them out there. And some people improve, some people don't. But they still, I think, they still brought something to the show. Yeah, and that's what I think worked so well.
Do you have nicknames for them among the judges? Yeah, like behind the scenes.
No. I'm very serious behind the scene. You know that.
Yeah.
I am. It takes so much energy to do, because a live show, you're not scripted. You really have. We all have a responsibility to make, you know, to kind of, in a way, guide the audience, at the same time try to make it entertaining. So you need to. I am actually, before the show, I just lock myself in. I'm always the last one out, because I need to clear my head, and I have to have that space, you know, so I can actually watch and getting images out of them. So if I have too much faffing about, it doesn't work for me. I'm kind of, you know, and because, you know, obviously doing Americas, you really have to kind of, I don't know, everybody's different, but I have to really save my energy and make sure that I have enough energy and then when it starts, it's like you turn a switch and it all happens, and then it's all like
Do you find it exhausting, the commute, and for Len as well, and do you think it's something you could keep up?
The thing is that if you always say, you know, I mean, this is the only the two of us, I mean, we can't complain, because it's a great place to be, you know. Is having the opportunity of being in the biggest show in America and the biggest show in the UK is very rare, and obviously we both are, you know, grateful to be there. Nevertheless, it does get tired. It's not the flying, is the jet lag, and obviously we are concerned. We want to do a good job, and the worry is more. It's not about being tired. It's about, oh my God, I can't do it. How am I going to do? Is, you know, you worried that you're not be able to deliver. Fortunately, you know, we don't do anything. We don't go out, and over that period, you really have to kind of conserve your energies, and it worked. And as long as we can. You never know, you know, in this business, look what happens, you know. You can never say, you know, you do one show at a time.
But it struck me that Len got a bit grumpy sort of mid-series.
Well,
it's
not
must
grumpy.
put a lot of strain on.
It's not grumpy. The thing is, you sometimes, you know, you react as you are to a situation, and sometimes you do get tired. I mean, it is understandable. But, you know, it's all related again to what happens. And sometimes, you know, you think this is your opinion, and the situation pushed that out. But I don't think it's like, you know, I don't think he's kind of grumpy. As it's Len, you know, it's like I am. They say I'm crazy. I'm not crazy at all. You know, it's not. It's just. But sometimes, you know, when you're tired, some side of you gets over. Because sometimes I did things that I just, oh my God, what did I say?
Yeah.
It's because when you're a bit tired, you kind of, it's harder to control, you know, so you let it out in a way
So
that...
you don't think it's sort of adding too much to the tension that's already there between the judges?
No, I think we're pretty much, you know, we've always had, the four of us, if something happens, we react to it immediately, and we understand that. It's a natural reaction. We all have very strong personalities, and I've done it myself. I've said things, and not intentionally, and oh God, that was a bit too much. But we do understand that once the show is over, we don't carry it as a grudge, you see, because we know that, you know, it is, you know, you are there, and sometimes you say things that, you know, could be interpreted in the wrong way, but it's never meant to be. You see what I mean? As an offensive or aggressive. It's just, you know, it just happens.
And do you think the pecking order is changing slightly because Craig had that one week where he's head judge. Do you feel that it's coming to the point where we might get a new head judge, for instance?
No, I don't think so. I think that's, you know, obviously, I don't know. I'm not part of I'm not a producer. I don't produce the show, but I think that honestly, within the ballroom world, Len is the authority. I mean, Craig and I come from film. I mean, personally, it's television, film, music. You know, we know about it, but obviously, at the moment, I think Len is very much the ballroom, you know, called strictly ballroom personality, and I don't think it would. You know, I don't think it would work any other way. Well, no, I think everybody has a very clear identity. And I think you have to, the identity has to stay as it, at the moment, I think it works. I don't see, I can't see really be anywhere, in any other way. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Is right. You know, so if something is right, if you know, if it's not broken, don't fix it. It happens, you know, certain shows.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful when you kind of meddling with a winning formula.
Do you think there may ever come a time when it is too tiring to do both and you may have to choose?
Well, I think if the time comes, obviously, if any one of us, you know, or if you get sick, I mean, you know, touch wood with my head. You know, at the moment, we've done it, this is the 6th year, or 7th, I can't even remember. You know, we do it. I mean, you can easily, it's never say never, but I mean, if I have no intention of, personally, if I'm invited back, you know, because even that, you know, you never know. But you know, you can't take things for granted. But I've done it this year, so if I'll do it again. But obviously, for reason, let's say medical, or anything can happen, and people say, well, listen, I can't do it. Then we'll cross that bridge when we get to. But this year, you know, we did it, and it's massive there, massive here. So you know. What can you do?
So,
you know, it's a nice place to be.
So do you think X Factor have made a mistake dabbling with the panel?
I think what happened is, because it's like anything, you know, sometimes everything gets kind of blown out of proportion, and the thing is Simon couldn't do those shows. So obviously that is something they had to do. But it's not so much with the judge. I think sometimes it happens. As any show is a combination of everything, and at times it happened to us a few years back. The actual casting and the chemistry with the talent and is not quite as good as it could have been. But when you audition, it happened to me when I used to audition for years and years in my job. They don't turn up. You can't make it happen. You see, you know, it's all very well. But you've got to work with what you've got. Yeah. And I think, you know, and I know them, and I know that they just work, you know, that long. They work their ass off, you know, they really do.
So you think it was more to do with the
I think the caliber of contestant wasn't as exciting overall as in the past, and there's nothing you can do about it, you know. There really isn't, you know. You can't make it happen.
Simon, because you see it.
Well, I saw him in America, and I kind of had you know. Simon knows. Simon is not a fool. You know, he's not. And, you know, but it's show business, you know, show business. If there was it happens in movies when you cast, like, the biggest names, and the script is bad, it doesn't work. You know, and when you take people, audition people, and sometimes, you know, the level of talent is not as good as it happened before. There's nothing you can do about it.
What did he say though when you talked
Oh,
about?
but we had a laugh because it's the thing. We talk a lot of stuff, but it's all very private, and he knows. He's he's a professional. He's been doing the business for years, and I'm sure they've already started. HAYU already started, putting the foot down and sorting out the next one.
Do you think you wanted too much? You got a bit greedy. You wanted X Factor success in this country and America.
No, I think it's not a question of greed. When you have the opportunity to do something, you have to do it. You have to, it's not at all. Anybody that in this business that is offered such an opportunity, would you turn it down? You wouldn't. You don't. That's the way it rolls.
Did you read him at all about how well you guys have done in the ratings?
I told him, yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't help myself.
How did you
But
get?
he knows. He's actually very nice. He said, well done. Well done. But
Do you think he's worried?
No.
Did he say that? Oh, well, we'll beat you next year. Like that's what.
No, I haven't seen him yet because that was before when I was still doing the commuting, and obviously, I see him because his dressing room, his dressing room, his treble, his house. It's next to my shed.
How big is the trailer out there for that?
Oh, it's a house on wheels.
Is it really 3 stories though?
2 stories with patio garden. It's fantastic.
What's it got inside it?
Everything.
No, go on. Seriously, what's it got inside?
Oh,
it?
everything. Just name it.
Tanning booth.
I don't think it's
Stop
got.
it.
I've never been upstairs to the bedroom area.
It's got bedroom in it as well.
So it's
yeah.
2 stories.
It's amazing, but it's always I have a drink, have a chat, have a cigarette.
Has it got a bar?
Jacuzzi?
Yeah, everything. I haven't seen the jacuzzi.
Hot tub?
But I've never been upstairs. I always stayed in the lower floors.
Is yours nearby?
Yeah, my shed is near.
What's
Next door, my
yours in
shed
comparison?
looks into. It's a shed.
Literally.
Imagine a garden shed in a mansion. But it's all very good, Yeah, the thing is, when you know somebody for a very long time, and professionals, there's none of this. You've got to do your job.
Have you worked with Simon?
The last time I worked with him was when we put together a Devo. It was just actually when this started. Was it 2004?
Yeah, 2004.
And because I love opera and I'm really into all of that, and he said I got this back. So I worked for a month with to create all the chemistry between them, and the running order. It was like more directing really than choreographing, because it's just really getting them to find a blend of personalities and with the voices and the running order, the right songs, and it was wonderful because they're wonderful kids. They're absolutely wonderful kids. That's why I got a bit tearful when they performed, because they're so lovely and we brought back so many, and they're great to work with. But that was the last time, but it goes back a long.
Does he ask you to do anything else?
He did actually, but I can't comment on it.
Go on.
Oh, don't be shy.
No, I can't.
Are you doing
Recently.
it?
No, I couldn't anyway.
Are you doing it or not? Whatever it is.
No, I'm not doing it.
Why
Did
is
he
that?
ask you to be a judge?
I can't. I can't go into it. It was a while ago anyway. But it couldn't have happened because
Different network.
it just wasn't right. It wasn't right. But I know it. Maybe one day. Who knows?
Would it
But I'm happy.
conflict
I'm happy
strictly?
where I am.
Would
Would
you
it-
like to
would
work
it-
with him one day? Would you like to work with him one day?
Well, you never know. You never know in what's going to happen in life. But it's a bit difficult because of. I'm signed up in America but not free. God, I feel like I signed my life away.
3 years.
But for 2014, end of 2014. So that takes a big slice out of your year. Then there's all the things that I like to do that it's very difficult to get it done because of what when you sign. You obviously when they call you have to go. You sign a contract and I'm very happy. It's really, really good. But never say never. If the right thing comes, why not? We know each other. I enjoy his company. We've known each other for.
But also you've had a lot of connection with the music industry.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you must fancy being a singing judge at some point.
Well, I've done it. I think I've done it for so many years. So many with all the bands. In the 80s and in the 90s, and I know. I that's what I used to do. I used to kind of work with bands and make them on any aspect of it. And I started, and I can do it very, very well. But I mean, at the moment, it's like there is, I'm signed to do something, and it's very difficult to, it's.
But the way it works over here, you haven't signed a long-term contract with
the BBC. No, not in the UK. No.
It's just literally every year you wait for them to come.
Yeah. No, none of us, none of the dancers, none of the judges. We are invited to do it, and obviously, of course.
And there's a new boss. I mean, because Moira Ross is leaving, isn't she?
Yeah, but Moira, she's going to do the voice, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
But you won't be in charge of Strictly, though, will she?
I don't know. Is Moira going to be in charge?
No.
There'll be. No. So we don't know yet, but I mean, we haven't finished this one.
No.
So I think he's looking really far ahead.
Last week, the big story around was Louis Walsh coming out and talking about this hair transplant, and obviously, yes.
That's a big story.
No, it's quite. It was for Will.
You must be. Mother must be desperate. If that's a big story, you must be desperate with what's going on in the world. Louis Walsh plums is the big story. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Well, it isn't. It looks exactly the same.
I know. But he wants to ask for his money back.
Well, he has to ask for his money back.
No, he had it done at the back, so you can't see it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, literally.
So that's helpful, isn't it?
What's the point? What is the point?
What about the Strictly judges, though? Is there any work they've had done that they,
Well,
people aren't getting younger, are they?
Well, I mean, I
they
can't
are
because I
getting
need
younger,
my face. I got nothing against it. To be honest, I really have nothing against it. If you do it well, and if you don't end up looking like a car crash. Nevertheless, I need to be expressive, and I can't. Can you imagine if I'm like that? And I just couldn't do it. I need my face to move.
What about the other judges?
Even with all the wrinkles,
What about the other judges? Because it is very HGTV.
Well, Linda is too gorgeous. You can't paint a peacock. Craig admits to it, and he loves it.
What else has he had done this year, though? Has he had?
I don't know what he's done. What has he done this year? Didn't he have? But no, that was last year. I think he had liposuction. No, he had man boobs.
Did he really and had them taken off?
Yeah. Yeah, but a lot of men, I think I understand that because see, I'm kind of physical perfection, as you can see. No, but sometimes it's a problem that a lot of people have, and it's like
other people, yes, other people.
It's like a genetic thing, and a lot of people, even kids, there's some 14 years old that have it. Yeah, I mean, and
I think they're called girls, aren't
they? No, it's something that it's a genetic thing.
Yeah, it's where they lay their fat down.
And when the fat lays in the wrong place in a way, and I think if something can be corrected, why not? I'm all for it.
So is that something he was conscious of then? Because he comes across as very,
yeah, but you see,
confident.
When you see somebody on screen being what we do, it is your job, and actually. Craig is he's the nicest guy. He's so chilled, so laid back. He's got to do his job. I do my job, and what we do is related to a situation we're in. But so Craig couldn't be nicer. They couldn't be a nicer guy. So is Len, so we really are laid back. We really are.
You haven't put Alicia in that list.
Yeah, I said Alicia.
Oh right, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, she's a riot. I love her.
When you were on Alan Carr,
we had a lot. She's so funny. She's so nice. She hasn't got any hang-ups. She's got no graces. She's not a big head. We just laugh.
And she was saying on there that the Strictly contestants, they're up against each other for all that time, and that it's a very sort of there's a lot of sexual tension on the show. But obviously, there's been no romance this year.
Well, I mean, that's what maybe because she's been there. I've never seen it. I'm actually jealous. I missed that out.
Do you have, not cosmetic surgery wise, but do you have a particular regime?
Very strict, I am absolutely, not fanatic, but I have to, because obviously I don't get any younger, but I've always had, I do like this sort of an hour and a half, if I don't have a kind of business something to do. Every morning I do an hour and a half, because I used to teach for years and years and years, and so I know exactly what to do. So I have my system. So it's an hour and a half every day. I eat very, very well. I love cooking, so I cook my own food. Even in America, you know, I don't do all the restaurants, all that stuff. So maybe once a week, the most. But I go to the supermarket, buy my own stuff. I cook my own stuff. Tons of garlic. Do you smell? No, but I'm very. No, it's not. I'm not fanatic, but I know what I like, and I know what works for me. And I love food, and I'm Italian, and I cook. I always have, and there's certain things that I just don't. For me, as you know, I'm not gonna go there. I have to have my kind of food, and I cook my own things with all the herbs. Everything is fresh. It takes 10 minutes. There's a show here, but I haven't got time to do it. No, but it really is. I'm very aware of what I eat, but I don't deprive myself of anything.
Do you drink alcohol?
Very little, because I 2 glasses and I'm good on. You know, I have like a glass of wine after the show, and I eat with food. But listen, I never have. This is because the way we are, you know, it's a different kind of way of awareness.
In the sort of 80s, and you know, when you were in things like the Elton John video and that sort of time, it was a very like wild time.
Yeah, I've
you
seen
had
it all.
those years, and then now you've come out the other side of it.
Yeah, but no, I never been, because fortunately my system. It's not that I've tried everything, but it doesn't work for me. My system, I just can't do it. I don't want to waste a day because of an extra glass of wine. I just can't do it. I cannot do it. I love drinking with my food. And then I'll have a glass of wine last me for 2 hours. I cannot just knock it back. It doesn't work for me.
Like Alicia with the hot water.
I can't do it, but I know friends of mine, when I got with the nanas, I mean, they used to be like, God, they're drunk.
The English, though, like to drink like that, don't
but
they?
I think it's because it builds up. You know, like anything, you start when you're a teenager and you build up resistance to it, like anything. I think in the way I was brought up, the wine was always at the table, even as a kid. My mum used to give me red wine with water. So the alcohol has never been this kind of, it's like, you know, when something is almost forbidden, you make it even, you want to kind of, you can't wait, I can only drink between this and that, I'm going to get pissed. Getting pissed was always considered the most degrading thing. Oh, look at that, he's drunk. You know, drinking is okay, but, you know, not to get drunk. And I never, to me, that has never, I never understood it. You see what I mean? I just, because it makes me feel very sick.
So what do you think when you see these girls lolling around in the street?
Well, if it works for them, it's none of my business.
I'm not sure it does.
Well, it is working.
It's none of my business. To be honest,
it's
none of my business. But personally, you know, it's not. If you can't take it, don't do it. You know, I know people, very well known people that can drink a lot, but they're never. You know.
I always wonder what you look like drunk. And
you know, well, I've seen people also they start slurring. Nothing makes sense. They become aggressive.
Well, wait till you get to Blackpool, because you're going to see a lot of that up there.
Well, when I'm doing the show.
When are you going up?
Tomorrow.
So you're not going up tonight?
No, but I'm here. How am I going to go?
Drive up.
I'm going to get.
So what about like after the show on Saturday? Because obviously, you know, it's not.
Well, we probably have a little. I mean, I'm not going to get hammered.
No. Will there be? Who will get hammered? Who's going to be?
None of us. Not me. Not Len.
Alicia must.
Well, no, she wasn't even there. She wasn't really hammered there, because you know when you have. The thing is, when you have a long day and you know, it takes. She wasn't. She didn't.
No, she just was
She
wasn't.
She wasn't hammered at all. But you know, a little drink when you're really after a long day and you haven't eaten, it makes you a little bit giddy, let's say. But she wasn't hammered at all. You know, I know I've seen hammered people. You know, God. But some people can take it. Like Craig can drink. Oh, it's amazing what he can do. But he's never. You know, he's never. Kind of on his hands and feet, being nonsensical.
Alicia, do the tango.
Yeah, you know. But I have, you know, 2 drinks, and I just, you know, I remember a few years back, I ended up taking my top off and dropping my trousers in front of Bruce Forsyth. So that was a few years back, about 4 or 5 years back. And
was that?
Riding with Claudia Winkelman, you know, so I'm not doing that again.
When was that? An after show?
It was here 4 or 5 years ago.
Was it after the
final?
What did Bruce say?
Yeah.
He was shocked, and I thought, what was I? So they did because so that's it. So it doesn't work for me.
What was Bruce's reaction? Do you remember this saying?
His face is like, what are you doing, mate? So he had a laugh. But that really happened. So it's not going to happen again.
So yeah, that's it.
That's it.
You're leaving for someone else.
Yeah, leave for someone else to make a fool of himself.
So is he likely to come back and have a bit of a pass?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Bruce.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to kind of see the, we're not going to see the sunrise. But I'm definitely, but it's going to be, there's a celebration. It's a celebration of the season. Everybody's worked very, very hard and happy Christmas, pull the plug, have a rest.
Do you think Bruce, how long do you think he can keep this up for? 'Cause it's amazing.
As long as he wants. I think that he really is, he's kind of Sir Bruce. He's kind of a national treasure, really. He's just, and he's somebody, he's so familiar to so many generations that it's almost like having your best friend, welcoming you to his own world every Saturday night. There's an element of familiarity and warmth and respect and fun, and I think it's up to him. I really think he's and he'll go on forever. He'll go on with these people, because they're part of these kind of all-rounders that have this kind of, you say, what's the right word? Develop the career through variety, through doing gig after gig after gig after gig after gig. It's not these people that they go from from nothing to TV. They really they love the stage. They love performing. They love the public. It's nothing, and I don't think when you've done it all your life, why stopping?
Yeah.
It really isn't. I wouldn't.
Between sort of Bruce, the judges, are there anyone with any sort of particular diva demands or anything like that backstage?
No, we're not. We're not. We're all very. There isn't time for it. There isn't time for it because you've got to get this show on together. It's a live show. And we're all kind of we do our job. There isn't. I don't make that up. If there was something, I would say it. But there really isn't. We're very, very lucky that the working environment is actually very good and very relaxed. Well, relaxed to the same, you're tense, but there isn't any kind of, oh my God, what are you doing?
What about the contestants this year, though?
I don't get involved, you say. But that is like a rule. I'm very polite. I like them all. I joke. I crack a thing. I strike conversation, but I don't actually spend any time. Well, none of the judges. First, I don't have the time, but I think it's good to keep a very, a nice, polite demeanor, funny with everybody. But I don't want to discuss anything to do with the show with them because it's, it would, there has to be a barrier. I don't want to. Don't hit me with anything to do with the show.
So on Sunday, are you going to go along to the pleasure beach, have a walk along the beach?
No, I'm coming back because
I have. Not spending any time in Blackpool.
No, I have to come back because I'm never here. I have to see my friends. I have to get a life.
What do you think about Blackpool and going up there and the journey?
The journey. I'm going by train.
I'm
going by train because I could. It's the quickest. You go to Preston, and then it's only 2 hours.
You're going straight out there on Sunday morning.
I'll be there then with. Yeah, I probably have a stroll on the beach in the morning, Saturday morning before going to the show. But it's not, that's work. I've got a job to do.
Can we just have the last question?
With the finalists, and particularly Harry, do you think he's getting the support because he's dancing well, or do you think there's a lot of McFly fans who are saying we love Harry regardless? Is he a worthy winner?
Well, I think he's a worthy finalist. I think regardless. Nobody can deny how good he is and how hard he's worked. And he's great. I mean, not just him, Chelsea is the same, but I think, obviously the fans, I don't know we actually are not aware of the amount of votes, but it's a fact. He's bloody good. He's bloody good. So is Chelsea and so is Jason. I think there is very, very little between them, and I think he's all that. I think he's going to be again on that freestyle dance, when they can do and create their own, special wow moment with this dance that in which they can use anything. They can throw anything in it. They don't have to do ballroom. They can do hip hop if they want to. They can do something so amazing or something awful. because it happened with Colin Jackson. Colin Jackson, everybody thought was going to win.
So you don't think it's like, I don't know, McFly Mafia
No,
fans who are
I don't.
blitzing the phones to make sure they win in these competitions?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the general fan base of the show is much more spread than that. I don't think that is any given. You know, like we had in America. You know, for example, in America a couple of years back, everybody said that we had Bristol Palin in the show, and everybody said, "Oh, Bristol Palin is going to win because she's got all the Republican Party." Well, it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense because when it came to it, she didn't make the final. But I think that the hardcore, the fans of the show always get it right. Yeah. They always do, because when it comes to the final, it may happen during the earlier stages of the show, but once it gets to the final, people really will vote. All of that goes. It happens every year. It happens in America. On the earlier stages, because I think that it's very fractured. But the real hardcore fans they actually fans of the show, and at the end they always get it right.
You mentioned earlier that there were things that you said that you regretted. What have you said that you've regretted the most?
The hills are around. The hills are alive with the sound of bullshit. Because I didn't know bullshit was offensive. Because you have to understand that. It gets lost into. I thought bullshit all sounds very good, but I didn't think that at the moment it was a reaction to something that happened, and it just kind of made sense in my head. But I did a bit. Because that's what it meant, exactly. But I didn't realize that bullshit was a swear word. It's just. And then, oh my God.
Did anyone speak to you for production or anyone like that have a word with you? Or?
Don't swear, you're swearing. Did I? I haven't said it since. But it happens because you're caught in the moment. And it's not meant to. You're not meant to be offensive. You really don't. But you understand. What happens is I am personally, I'm like that. Watch it, and sometimes the self-edit bottom is slightly off kilter because, and it's never meant to be offensive. I said it. I can't remember. I've done so many. I done in America. That said something. Everybody. I said pussy. But and it was, oh my God! I was, oh Jesus! I thought the student was like a when the air gets sucked out, and I absolutely I was just like doing my thing, no idea because. And that I blame the British and Mrs. Slocum. Because she said that my pussy's wet, I get so much trouble with my pussy, I can't get my pussy smelling nice and all of that stuff. And in my mind, there was a girl, she came out with like a pussy, she was right. And somebody that, it was really rough. He said, I'm sorry, Matt, are you doing, I thought what was the dance, I can't remember, but you're so rough with your pussy. Oh, it just was an uproar. But and in retrospect, I understand. But at the moment, the image was so strong, and it just came out. But it was never meant to be offensive. You know what I mean? And
so shocked am I still.
So that's another word that I'm not going to say again. So I'm not going to say bullshit. I'm going to say pussy. I'm not going to say. But I used to write it on my mirror. No this, no that.
Is there a list that you're told what you can't say?
No, they don't tell me. But I mean, they say. Obviously, I understand. I totally understand. It's a family show, so you have to be aware they're kids. But sometimes it's just it's not intentional, and sometimes there's a little slip. And for me, and I never thought that was a pussy. I thought it was obvious that was a pussycat. You know what I mean?
Are we too sensitive about these sort of issues here?
There is. I think there's a line. I think there's a line. I think. Some things, you have to be careful, but you can't be too uptight because then you suck out. There is comedy. Comedy is part of it. You just. I think you can't just put everything into the same. How you call it? There's a word. You can't generalize with it. I think it depends on the situation and the context in which certain things are said. Obviously, at 6 o'clock in the evening you have to be careful, and I know that, and.
So you think people like yourself should be given more freedom? Sorry.
Well, I mean, within reason. But with me, it's good reminding me. It's very good reminding me because I say I do understand. But when it goes later on, I think you should relax a bit more. But with me, I'm very happy to be reminded that certain words are not acceptable.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
guys.
Thank you.
Have a great time
Yeah.
this weekend.
Thank you very much.
You know you're doing another interview on the phone. Blame Charlotte.
Working you too hard, aren't they?
Well, it's because I'm here. I should have gone. Because there's nobody else.